talking one-on-one is much easier for me than speaking in public. I am more of a public doer than a public speaker. So please forgive me for reading from my speech. I thought I had a short period of time. I'm afraid of that buzzer. And it's important to me that I make my points concisely without wandering. There are 3 things that I'd like to cover tonight. I would like to tell you a little bit about my background, why I believe I'm an excellent candidate for the Board of Education, and about my vision for Holmdel students and the Holmdel school system. I grew up in Holmdel, and I graduated from Holmdel High. I'm married to David Collins, my husband, who is here today, who grew up in Holmdel as well. For those of you who have been around a while, his parents owned the Holmdel Village Pharmacy on 520 in Holmdel Road in the 80s and 90s for years. We are the proud parents of 2 children that are here, George, who's in 8th grade, and Julia, who is in 6th grade. They are all here to support me tonight, including my sister, Carrie, who is a Holmdel High School alumnus as well. After high school, I went to Tufts, then Hofstra Law School, and started my first job. I practiced as an immigration attorney in the city, later as in-house counsel to a computer technology company. Then I worked for a law firm in St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Dave and I have moved around quite a bit with our children for our careers. And after about 10 years, we had the opportunity to move back to New Jersey when David got a job as CFO for the New Jersey Devils and the Prudential Center in Newark. Holmdel was the obvious choice for our kiddos because of the school system, and of course because we are so close to family and friends now. I wouldn't change my experience over the last decade for anything, but I cannot tell you how very lovely it is to come back home. Now I just want to tell you why I believe I'm an excellent candidate for the Board of Education. If I could think of one sentence that defines me as a person and has defined my life, it's that I'm passionate about helping people grow, attain success, and be resilient in a world where we all face difficult challenges. I take this task seriously. Whether or not I'm elected to the board, I'm going to help people. I'm going to continue to help people improve, grow, and overcome obstacles and speak up for them. That is what I do. This is who I am, and it's satisfying to me at the core. Of course, the way to do this is through education, academic or otherwise. However, this is not an easy task. You have to be a tireless problem solver. This is what I like to think about when I get up in the morning and when I go to sleep at night. It requires a great level of focus, goal setting, and resetting of goals. It is difficult and exhausting. You can't do it if you don't like it. But for me, it's the ultimate reward. Having moved around a great deal, I've been in St. Thomas, Houston, Palm Beach County, Sugar Land, Texas, among other places, and I've had to adapt to various cultures. And when I say cultures, I don't just mean people from different countries. It can mean school culture, ethnic culture, or it could be just as much about 2 different towns in the same county, in New Jersey, with a different culture. In fact, I have to say, even though I lived in St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands, I think my biggest culture adjustment was in Texas. That seemed the most foreign to me. In any event, I learned to observe and listen in order to adapt and make social connections, which are very valuable tools. In addition, the moving helped expose me to many different schools. My children have been in private, public, and even one charter school. Finally, let me just say that I heard it through the grapevine that being a board member is a lot of hard work. As an attorney, I am certainly capable of handling the workload, and my analytical training and ability to digest large quantities of material will be helpful to my duties if I'm elected to the board. The last thing I want to talk about is my vision. I've done a lot of research and I put a lot of thought into condensing my vision into 5 main principles as follows for tonight. The first is about achievement. We must support our kids to achieve the maximum that they can academically as individuals through hard work and dedication, no holding back. Of course, this also applies to sports, the arts, or anything else worthwhile for our children. Number 2, success. We need to teach our kids that there are many traits that will make them successful along with academic achievement, such as creativity, social intelligence, emotional intelligence, and problem solving. Number 3, innovation and information. We need to constantly strive to make changes and review our practices. In order to do so, we need data, evidence, and solid research to formulate best educational practices. I have two more, and I'm almost done here. Number 4 is appropriate placement and valid assessments that parents actually know how to interpret. Objective criteria in the form of standardized tests is indispensable and very valuable. But let us also consider other factors to determine what a child can handle, such as the child's developmental readiness and stress level. Also, of course, we need to better educate our parents on the standardized assessments being utilized, because to be honest with you, it's not very easy to understand the results of the tests. And I've done a lot of online research and looking around, and sometimes I still don't understand what the tests are trying to do. And 5th, and I think this one is pretty straightforward, we need transparent and direct communication with our schools. I don't think anybody would dispute that. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me tonight. For me personally, I don't think there's anything more rewarding than helping our young people grow and to achieve success. I hope that you will consider my candidacy for the Holmdel Board of Education so I can make that happen. Please visit my Facebook page, Jaimie Collins for Holmdel Board of Education, and my website, which is collins4boe.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, in the order of which these people RSVP'd, would be John Martinez.
Thank you.
And you can stand here, or you can stand there, or you can sit. I don't
That's fine.
care.
I'll stand. I move everything, so yeah, stand there. Absolutely.
John, how much time do you think we need?
Maybe 3 minutes max. Well, thank you very much for having all of us here. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad you all came, because
You know what?
otherwise we wouldn't know who you were.
You know, the biggest thing with these things is, quite honestly, you don't get to meet everyone, right? As a board member, I've been blessed for the last 3 years to work with a lot of amazing board members. We've worked through a lot of interesting things. So for me to be out here, to see some folks that I've never met, it's actually really, it's a good opportunity to kind of talk about myself, but more importantly, where I see the board going for the next 3 years. So my name is John Martinez. I've been on the board for now finishing up my 3rd year. I've been a Holmdel resident for 13 years. I have 3 children, 10, 12, and 16. Actually, yesterday would be 18 years married to my lovely wife, Heather. My background, for those that don't know me, I went to NYU. I have a biology degree and a business degree. I owned and operated a prosthetic company in New York City, which I sold in my late 20s. Currently, I work in the operating room for Johnson & Johnson. We supply medical devices. So I get to see firsthand how to see patients heal, work with orthopedic surgeons on a day-to-day basis. Outside of that, I also operate a charity. I also operate a business that handles real estate. So my point in bringing that up is that I'm pretty well versed from the minuscule stuff to the big business stuff. That's where my role has kind of been in understanding what's important for our board and for everybody who is taxpayers. Okay, that's what my need, or my gift, if you will, of understanding where our budgets need to be. Because at the end of the day, as Mr. Luttrell had mentioned, 67% of our tax dollars goes to the Board of Ed. Okay, and oftentimes as a taxpayer, you don't really know where that money's going. You have an understanding of it, but you know, when you look at the schools, we just pushed a referendum to improve our schools that haven't been touched. There's communications, there's IT, things that we have to improve, and much to even Jamie's point, which I agree with, communication has to be better. Part of what we've been trying to do in our current board, and what I've personally tried to do, is have the communication improve. We have changed superintendents. We have a new superintendent who's been in place. What I have asked from him is to make sure that communication comes out, not just to the parents, but to everyone in the community. And because it's a problem, okay? Everybody's well-versed and invested into our community. We take a lot of pride. I grew up in Middletown, and there was a sense of pride there, no doubt. But when I came into Holmdel and what I looked around, and from everybody who's running, okay, everybody wants the best for their kids and for the taxpayers, there's no doubt. But when you look at our community, everybody's engaged into what's the end game. which is making sure that the kids get educated, the kids have a full experience, not just in sports, but in the arts. Part of my vision with this referendum is to make sure that the arts are not forgotten. Okay, the comment was made, and I agree. When you look at our current environment, it's not encouraging our kids to be in the arts. It's just not. So we, myself personally, have engaged Dr. McGarry, who's our superintendent, our fellow board members, to make sure that we're not forgetting about the arts, that we continue to improve our sports, but more importantly, we have to improve the arts, we have to improve our technology, we really need to get our science labs, we need to really improve our math scores. There are certain things that I am not happy with, that where Holmdel used to be, where Holmdel is today, we need to exceed where we are today, okay? There comes to a certain point that you have to look at yourself and look at our community. What was done in the past was maybe adequate. Where we need to go for the future and what we need to do as a community, we're on the right track, but there's still a lot more work to do. The reason why I'm running again is when I look at the referendum, when I look at the work that's been done, there's still a lot of things that are unfinished. So I'm looking at one more term to make sure that at least my vision and my passion for everybody involved basically gets us to the end. In closing, I appreciate everyone's time, and God knows I want to see the best for our kids and where we're going for the future. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone again.
The next person I want to invite is Terrence Wall, who is wearing a pink jacket and long hair. I think many of you folks do know Terrence, but he is otherwise indisposed, and he has sent a proxy who will read something that he put together. Otherwise known as Jeannie Wall, the editor of Tap Into website.
Thank you, Jenny.
Jeannie, how much time do you need?
Thank you very much. I think 3 minutes will
Okay.
do it. So yes, my name is Jeannie Wall. My husband is Terence Wall. I know many of you know him. And missing an event like this tonight, I was explaining to our teenage daughter, for her is like missing a Justin Bieber concert, because he was so excited when he got the invitation. And he had surgery last Wednesday, and unfortunately he's still, it was much more involved, and he's still recovering, and he's getting better every day, so he'll be all right probably next week. But this is from Terrence. Here we go. He's lived in Holmdel his whole life. He's 50, and he's lived here for, I think they moved here before he was 1. So that's how long my husband has lived in Holmdel. We have 4 children in the school system, 1 in the high school, 3 at Village, and this is from Terrence. I apologize that I am not able to speak with you directly tonight. I want to thank Citizens of Informed Land Use for this opportunity to talk about my platform. Members of CILU have known my work for some time, being directly involved with preserving the Chase Track, F&F Nurseries, and De Palma Farms. Smart government is not complicated, and I'm happy to provide it. We can do all things well in the Holmdel public school system. In order to further that goal, I am running for the upcoming 1-year open seat to provide you both with a listening ear and an active voice for the issues that matter to you and your family. I'm respectfully asking you for your vote on November 7th. Here's why. We have over a dozen departments in the Holmdel public school system and a $52+ million annual budget. The referendum for over $40 million recently passed. This creates the strongest need for teamwork and transparency between the board, the public, and the administrative staff. It's a critical opportunity to get it right, and I will work for you. Simply put, in the next year or so, the Holmdel Board of Education will be responsible for approximately $95 million in spending. As a lifelong resident of town and a proud husband and father of 4 children who attend the school system, my family is invested. I am a lifelong member of St. Catherine's Church, and I truly care about the entire community as a whole. I am running to lend a hand to serve you as an unpaid volunteer Holmdel Board of Education member with your vote on November 7th. For a decade, I've served as the Chief Administrative Officer in the public sector. I have served in roles such as Township Administrator, Registered Municipal Clerk, Qualified Purchasing Agent, and Acting Chief Financial Officer in 3 different municipalities. As a member of the Office of Emergency Management and other key multi-jurisdictional agencies, I work hard every day to put my master's degree in public administration to work, as well as my RMC and QPA certifications, which are registered municipal clerk and qualified purchasing agent respectively. Working daily with multi-million-dollar budgets, major capital projects, collective bargaining, personnel, and a host of other endeavors, the challenges and opportunities in the schools are familiar territory. I will work for you and all the children in Holmdel who deserve the best that we can do for them. Working together, we can do really great things for all. From 1999 to 2007, I also served 3 successful terms as an elected Holmdel Township committeeman. This is critical experience as we embark upon a number of complex interlocal agreements with the Holmdel Township Committee. I have served longer on the Township Committee than most current members of the TC. I was previously an EMT volunteer member of the Holmdel First Aid Squad for nearly a decade, including 1 year as vice president. This experience, as well as serving as president of the Holmdel Rotary, ensures to the collective benefit of all stakeholders in Holmdel. We have many positions and beliefs in Holmdel, and my goal is to provide you a voice and to bring joy and value to both you and your family in the Holmdel experience. As a child, I attended Holmdel Village, Indian Hill, and SATS before graduating from high school and going on to college. I've seen the curriculum grow and modify as both the level and related technology expand to meet the demands of today. I'm not stuck in the past, and as a manager, I would ensure the teachers brought on board are cutting edge. Also, being from the management side and not beholden to a teachers union, I can participate fully in collective bargaining agreements and any issue that pertains to the NJEA union, meaning I would not be required to recuse myself from contracts because I am not in the teachers union. In summary, like you, my family is invested in the town, and I want to ensure that we do all things well for everyone in the Holmdel school system. Let's continue the conversation. Please email me at wall4hboe@gmail.com or call me anytime 908-461-3400. My interactive Holmdel Board of Ed Facebook forum is wall4hboe. I am available to discuss the issues that concern you both today and moving forward. It would be great to hear from you so I can speak with you about all the important issues that we can work on together. I am asking you to put me to work for you with your vote. As I said in the beginning, we can do all things well in Holmdel, and with your consideration and vote, promises made are promises kept. Please vote for Terence Wall. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next person would be Eileen Briamonte. Thank you very much for coming.
Well, thank you for having me. My name is Eileen Briamonte.
How much time do you need, Eileen? How much time do you need?
Oh, it's a test.
No, it's just a simple question.
3 minutes. It's fine. What happens after that 3 minutes?
Nothing. It's just a reminder.
Okay, just checking. Like I said, my name is Eileen Briamonte. Thank you for having me. I would love to see all of you attend our next board meeting, by the way. This is a full crowd. It's very nice to see this many people here. I am running for the Board of Ed this year. I was appointed this position. There was a vacancy that opened last year, and I was appointed to the position. I've been in Holmdel 17 years. I have 2 children, one in high school and one in SATS. Very scary, the high school thing, as someone had mentioned earlier tonight, but we're doing it. And so far, so good. I've been married to my husband for 20 years. A little bit about my background is we are Villanova graduates, Villanova, and I have a degree in mathematics, and I use that mathematics to work in information technology. So I had a computer programming job for about 10 years. I went through all forms of programming, from concept to deployment. Worked in very large corporations. After that, I've been blessed to have 2 different careers. I started tutoring. So I also tutor children in Rumson and Fairhaven and Middletown, kids that are going off to boarding school. So my passions are always going to be STEM related, and when I say STEM, I also mean like the arts. I read this great article today about how STEM can also be incorporated into arts, such like, say in performing arts. Now we see costumes that are light up and react to music, and so I think when people hear STEM, they just think science and they just think technology and they think a specific type of student, but the thing about STEM is it is for all students and it can help in areas of arts as well as technology, math, sciences. So I'm pretty passionate about that, and that's something I'm comfortable, having my information technology background. I'm very excited right now because we have so many things going on in Holmdel with BellWorks and all the technology companies that are coming to town. So I think that's great. It's going to give our kids hopefully a place to stay in Holmdel and use what they've learned here at our schools and remain in town and continue to foster the town that we currently have. I think another thing that is kind of important now, also technology related, is our social media interaction. So I'm concerned about how much of this we're doing, and I would like to see like a little bit of education done around that so that we can foster safe learning environments and not have to worry about our kids and this kind of impacting their learning abilities. So that's very important to me. The Holmdel 2020 is one of the things that I'm really passionate about now moving forward, because it's opening up a lot of things that we don't currently have here in Holmdel. As far as SATs not having the ability to do lab work and to do any sort of hands-on learning, which I think is really important for the next generation of career people. It's not something, I think right now we're very limited at SATs. Teachers perform experiments. It'd be great for the kids to get in there and use their own hands and see how things are working and see how they, can improve things. So that's very important to me, and I think with the referendum, that's going to really help us now to move in the direction where careers are moving in the 21st century. So that's something that's really passionate for me, and I think that I welcomed this past year. I've been on the board since late September last year, so I've had a full year to be on the board. I've been honored to be part of a bunch of different committees, so I've got to see a little of every committee in action, and that's been good for me. So it's nice because I can kind of hit the ground running. I'm asking in the 5th position of the ballot if you guys would consider voting for me to keep me on the board for another 3 years and to continue working for our community and for our children. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Again, Eileen Briamonte. I do have a Facebook page, so if anybody wants to search, it's Eileen Briamonte for Holmdel Board of Education. That's all I got.
Next, I'll ask Peter Reddy to come and talk to us, and I have a question for him that somebody asked me.
All right.
And I couldn't answer it. Why do we have a one-year term spot? Because usually all the Board of Education members are 3 years, so how did we end up with a one-year term? Did somebody resign early?
No.
For me? Oh, yeah. So we had a person that she was only able to, Dina D'Ambrosi,
Yeah.
she was only able to fulfill half of her commitment. So she moved out of town, so then they opened it up, and the board appointed it, and you applied like a job. You sent in your
So that was what you were filling?
So that's what I was filling. So there's one more year left in that term, but I'm actually going to.
You're going for the full one?
I'm still running, I'm gonna run for the full 3
Okay, so in
years.
due course, we'll just be back unless somebody else leaves town. We'll be back at just standard 3-year terms.
There's one unexpired year to the term that I'm filling, and that's what 2 of the other members.
Right, Jaimie and Terrence are
Right, correct.
going to be filling out.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
Somebody wanted to know. I pretty much figured that, but I thought you folks might like to know.
Peter, approximately how much time do you need?
20, 30 minutes maybe? Yankee game will be in about the 7th inning by then. It'll be pretty good. No, a couple minutes.
Does anybody want to
I'll give you 5 and the light will go off.
Done.
Okay.
First off, thanks to you guys. Thanks to CILU for putting this up. I know a few years ago, I think the Women's League of the Women Voters did it, and I think that was a good forum. Because for many of you, if you don't know me, my name is Pete Reddy. Like John, I've been on the board the last 3 years. Currently, I'm the vice president of the board. And take a few minutes to basically go over who I am, what we've done and what we're going to do to go forward. My wife's from Holmdel, so we basically came back to Holmdel about 10 years ago. I'm originally from Long Island, so coming to New Jersey was a little different since it's, U-turns and, no left turns and all that. But we really, Holmdel's home to us. I have two boys, 5th grade and 7th grade. Before coming here, I went to St. John's University. Anyone know St. John's, guys? And then after that, I was in the Army for 4 years after college. I got out as an Army captain, so anyone's going to watch an Army-Navy game, definitely go Army, right? Since we did one last year. I believe very much in giving back. I mean, if there's not a 3rd through 8th grade boy that I haven't coached in the last 7 years, I'd be surprised. I must have coached 30 some odd sports teams over the years, and I really do it because of the kids. And the same way I would say, like John, and we've touched a lot of these kids that working with the schools, it's super important. I mean, thanks to many of you who came out for the 2020 initiative, the hardest job going forward is going to be this $40.3 million referendum. And without a doubt, I mean, you've both been here a long, long time. Has there been a larger project this town's going to undertake over the next 3 years? Probably not, right? I mean, Karen's been on the board years ago. Anna was on the board for a long time. This is a really, really big deal. So from where I look at it, we want to keep doing what we're doing. We've worked probably for the last 16 to 18 months to plan this. And now the hard work really ensues because the two things that I've done the last 3 years is taxpayer in mind and the children. Everything is about that. My wife went to school here from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, just like her brother and sister did as well. And when we go to back to school night for SATs a few weeks ago, she's sitting in the same science lab she was in 25 years ago. Hasn't changed. She was in the same, I guess it was called home ec back then. Now it's life skills. Hasn't changed. Although as of Thursday, for those of you who have SATs children, there's a brand new life skills room that is opening up Thursday. So credit to the PLG, they made things happen. So for the last 3 years, I've been on the board. I'm currently the vice president. I chaired the Buildings and Grounds Committee. I work for a company called Honeywell, so I deal with schools pretty much every day during my job. I deal with school construction, school referendums, school energy projects, so I know how schools work, I know how budgets work, and it's what I do. What I've learned the last couple of years, which I was never that, attached to, is curriculum instruction, special needs, the IEPs, a lot of those things that were very foreign to me, and thanks to a lot of the other board members, I became very educated on it. Like tonight, I came from a meeting we're looking at de-leveling the math for the 5th grade. So a lot of things I'm still learning, trying to understand from the experts that are in our school, what makes best sense for our kids and for the kids of this community. And I think one of the best things that John and Jamie said is we need to communicate. We need to listen. We need to see what does the town want. And I think since Dr. McGarry has been on board for, the past year, I think we've done a very good job at communication, a much better job than we were doing. I mean, if anyone reads the Holmdel Journal, without a doubt, every month, the last 5-6 pages is all about Holmdel. It's not about Middletown, it's not about Hazlitt, it's about Holmdel. It's about Holmdel kids, Holmdel schools. So my thought is continue doing that. If we can continue trending that direction, we'll be in very good shape. Over the last few years, what have we done besides the 2020 initiative getting passed? Teacher negotiation, we successfully negotiated a teacher contract for the next 3 years. John was the chair on that, so congratulations to John. There's a brand new website. I know before we were talking about how the township website was lacking a little bit. That we identified the same thing for the school, and I guess over the last year to 18 months, there's a brand new website that came out in September. Just like anything, continually to tweak it, but it's definitely better than what we had. The rotating schedule, I know that was talked about for many, many years. No one even talks about it anymore. That went off without a hitch. Again, for the kids in the high school, instead of a block schedule, they have a rotating schedule. Went very well. School resource officer, everyone remembers the bomb threats from about 2 years ago, about how the fake bomb threats. One of the positives that came out of that was now we have a uniformed or non-uniformed police officer in the schools every day in our schools. Not that we have problems, but at least we know if there ever is a problem, there is a Holmdel police officer in the schools. Those are some of the real major accomplishments. So, like I said, the two goals in mind for me, taxpayers, everything we do is about taxpayers and the kids in mind. And we have a $40 million project and we have the next 3 years to get it done. So that's really probably the number one reason why I want to continue on this board, because the last 3 years we've been working at it, and I want to make these schools better, make this town better in turn. So, thank you.
Thank you. And now could Jaimie Ochojski come and tell us about her positions for the school board?
Thank you.
Jamie, how much time do you need?
2-3 minutes. Give me 3. He said 12. I wanted to thank you, the CILU, for having me come here tonight to speak with you. My name is Jaimie Ochojski, and I'm running for the 1-year term on the Board of Education this year. I wanted to let you know a little bit about myself. I am a 5-year resident of the community. I am also a proud mom of 2 beautiful boys who are in grades 8. Tyler's in grade 8, and Noah is in 5th grade at Indian Hill. I have almost 20 years of special education and elementary education experience. I attended Marist College in Poughkeepsie, New York, where I received a bachelor's degree in psychology and a dual certification in elementary and special education. I furthered my degree to a master's degree in curriculum and teaching, so I've been very active in writing curriculum for different districts that I've worked for, as well as I received a supervisor certificate from Rutgers University, so I'm also certified to be a supervisor as well. I have taught in many districts in the state of New Jersey. Most currently and most recently, I've been in Manalapan, Englishtown for the last 17 years, where I have taught every single grade from kindergarten to grade 5 in elementary and special education. I have been very actively involved in writing curriculum. I've been very involved with the special education population as far as writing IEPs, educating parents on the IEP process, and also very active in writing them as well. And I just kind of want to say that everyone knows and agrees that this world we live in is in desperate need of change, and I believe that the change begins in education. Our children in the Holmdel School District are going to be on the front line of this change, and it's our job as parents, educators, and members of this wonderful community to prepare our children to make this world a better place. We are so very lucky to be a part of a great community, and with your help, working together, we can make it even better. I wanted to thank you for coming tonight and for inviting me to speak, and I look forward to speaking to you further.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's spare.
And Daniel Bodnar.
Hi, how are you?
I am fine. How many more minutes do you need?
3.05, how's that?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Thank you.
Tell us about yourself.
Absolutely, I will. Well, my name's Dan Bodnar. I'm running for Holmdel Board of Education. I don't know you very well. See a lot of people here I do know. So I'll give you a little background about myself. I have 4 children in the Holmdel School District, ranging from 13 down to 5. My oldest is Savario in 8th grade. Cipriano's in 6th grade. Melania is in 3rd, and my little guy, Daviano, is in kindergarten. So a wide spread of different schools in town, and I myself am scared because my older son's now going to high school. I didn't think that was going to happen anytime soon. A little background about myself as well. I grew up in Woodbridge. I primarily have worked for everything in my life. I worked my way through college, full-time, going to school. I continued my education. I have my master's in public administration, so I'm intimately familiar with different projects and public needs. I then went into the pharmaceutical industry, so doing various projects from small to large, dealing with large budgets, contracts, negotiations. Most recently now I've changed careers and went into more med device, so I work in different hospitals throughout the state of New Jersey and dealing with sudden cardiac arrest, sudden cardiac death. So unfortunately, if we make a mistake, something bad does not happen. Something bad does not happen if we don't make a mistake. So my platform for Board of Education is, you heard some of the candidates talking about transparency. That's something I'm very big on. Myself, I think we've done a great job with transparency. We can just take it to the next level and informing all citizens about what's going on, not only within the board, but how their money's being spent. I know you were joking around with me is, oh, you're spending my money. That's something very near and dear to my heart because you're entrusting that every dollar that's given to us is also spent appropriately and stretching every dollar we possibly can. So that's part of my platform, and you heard about the 2020 initiative. Everybody's talked about it. It's a great step forward. I myself discovered Holmdel because of Terrence. I came down here while working doing insurance. I had no idea what Holmdel was or existed, and I was like, wow, this is really nice. And so I planned when I met my wife to move back to Holmdel to raise my family. Ultimately, we moved here. We moved away for a couple of years due to work, and then we've been back now for over a decade. I've been married for over 17 years, and that's where I plan on staying. That being said, I think that, to Pete's point, this is a huge initiative, a huge undertaking that needs to be directed, and I'm a fresh voice, I'm a fresh concept, looking at things differently than everybody else, and offering some custom solutions to some of our needs in our town and our community. So thank you for your time, and I am found on the Facebook page, Bodnar for Board of Ed. You can look me up, Daniel Bodnar. You can always call me, my cell phone's always on, whether I like it or not. 732-425-8556, and appreciate reaching out. Thank you very much, and have a great night.
Thank you all for telling us about yourself. And while somebody was talking, I was handed another card with a question. What do you folks think about the park? I don't even remember what it stands for, but it's the big testing thing that the kids go through that a lot of parents get very excited about, pro and con. And I guess Holmdel is forced by the state to give this test to all the children. Do you folks have a comment about it, whether you're for or against it, or what the future of it is in Holmdel? You want to say something? If you don't, that's okay.
I wouldn't say we're necessarily for or against it. I mean, right now, PARC is for New Jersey, it's the standardized test for the children, and it's essentially a snapshot of what they're looking at from math and reading. So right now, I know at our board meeting on Wednesday, if anyone wants to come, 8 p.m., Dr. McGarry will be doing a presentation on the PARC results, which basically tells us where our kids are in comparison to the other schools within the, within the state. So, I mean, it's one of those things, it's a necessary evil. There's a test, the one concern that I know as the board a lot of times is we've had the concern it's too many tests. Because you want to keep training to the test, you want to be educating these kids, not just preparing for tests. But I think the PARC is, which is, the current one is, you have to do it. And
well, do you have any choice in whether the kids do it or not? What if you all stood up and said, no? What would happen to us would we all get
there is a choice, but it's important to take the test because some of the funding and other things that the district gets, it's based on.
So you grossly get penalized if you don't do it?
Yes.
So. And last year, what percentage of our children opted out and stayed home and watched TV?
It was a low number. I don't know the number.
To some districts, it's really high.
It was better. It got better after the first year. And the thought is that it's going to get better every year as they see it as a tool to better understand where your child is at. Whether we're for it or against it, unfortunately, it is a necessary evil to understand and assess. It's a different way. It's a different assessment tool.
Okay, so I hope that. Yeah, Jen?
I think that the meeting with Dr. McGarry is going to be very useful, and I think it takes more than a minute or two to understand what these tests mean. I spent time going into school talking to Janine Seeley, the new director of curriculum, speaking to Mrs. Bellis, really trying to understand these tests. They're difficult to understand. They're statistical, there's all sorts of...
You mean the results are hard to understand?
Yes, what does it mean? And I've talked to people many times and I still don't get it. I'm relatively intelligent. I still don't totally understand what they mean. And I think that would be very helpful for parents to really know what does the map mean versus, apparently the map really is more a tool for the teachers. They come in, yes, the map testing is done, I think, 3 times a year, and at the beginning of the year...
MAT presumably stands for something?
I think...
No.
I don't think they're doing, how to read a map.
No.
Measures of academic progress.
MAP is the acronym.
Yes, measures of academic progress.
So I wrote that question. Can I change the question because I did not realize, not everybody understand what the PARC stands for. Can I change my question? My question is, do you support standardized testing nationwide? Whether you are support it or against it? Because this is very controversial, right? So I don't know each one of your position on standardized testing.
Well, it sounds like we don't have much choice in the matter because it's a state requirement.
For PARC it is, but
yeah.
like right now, this is the third year at Park, I believe. And when we had the first year, you had a baseline of nothing, so you had nothing to compare it to. Now that the more years we take it, more years we have baseline, we can see a fourth grader, and now we can see the results of a sixth grader. We can say, is the child trending up? Is he trending down? Are we not providing the educational classes that they need? Because a lot of times the kids will take tests and be like, I didn't know half the stuff in one certain chapter of the test or one certain area. So at least with 3 years, we're starting to build the data, which will help start to tell the story of, okay, where are we shortcoming, where are we doing well, where are we doing bad?
Right, and it's not so much the actual score that the children get, it's how the scores and the information is being used by the district. The district should be using the information to target instruction and for teachers to write student growth objectives so that we are teaching what our children need, not what they already have.
Exactly.
So we are making the most of our instructional time. So now that we have a foundation and a baseline, we really need to look deeply into those test scores and figure out and pinpoint exactly where our students are struggling to get them to that next level of understanding.
But it's all based on the New Jersey, the state standard.
And also the core content. So the PARC is taken not only in the state of New Jersey, it's taken in a lot of the other states as well as a comparison. This is the first test where the nation has said out of the 50 states, 40 of them have children taking the same test. So we're all being assessed on the same platform, whereas many years ago, when we were taking the New Jersey Ask test, I don't know if anybody remembers that, that was geared towards 3rd and 4th grade students, but that was just New Jersey. We weren't comparing New Jersey education to the rest of the country. This is giving us a comparison with our education system in the state versus other educational systems in the country.
But the issue is many states don't take the PARC.
Right.
And a lot of states have stopped taking the PARC for whatever those various reasons are. So, you know, but at least we can still compare to those that are taking it.
Right.
You know, I've been around so long, we only had the Metropolitans, and I remember one year
Yes.
my older son, they lost his test, and all hell broke. He was there, he took the test, but they could never find it, so.
To answer your question about standardized testing, whether we like it or not, it's here to stay, right?
If it's not PARC, it's something else.
It's going to be part of your high school requirement
Yeah.
to
Right.
graduate.
So you have the SAT, you have the ACT, so whether we like it or not, they're going to be there. So the point is that as long as we understand what we need to do to have our kids prepare for the best way, because let's be honest, most of our kids are going to college. They're going on to advanced degrees. So our job is right now to prepare them as much as we can for that advanced degree or for that college or for that skill that they may choose. And whatever that may be, we're trying to alter or change the curriculum to try to meet those needs as well.
And to pinpoint where we need to focus our time and energy, to focus on what our goals are. We need to pinpoint exactly, diagnostically, where our district is lacking so that we bring it up to the next level.
Okay. So thank everybody
I
for,
do have another part.
well, it's 9:20 and some people seem to be worried about the results of some baseball game or something.
So I want to thank the people from the Board of Ed that are running, that are on there for coming down. Really good effort. I want to thank the candidates running for a township committee who came, for responding and showing up. And if you haven't written down your name and your email address, I would appreciate that if you could reach out and let us know what's going on. Thank you all.
I had one more thing to say. Ross and I forgot to tell him. Open space question is a county question. But I'm not going to yell. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you.
It went very well. It went very well. Even though we didn't have to ask my candidates, because we didn't have
Yeah, it was fine. I was joking. Well, they wouldn't joke so much over the timing for the legal river voters because they wouldn't know the people and, you know, share it a little more speed.
It worked well. Very good. I think this was a wonderful turnout.
And I would really like to do it again.